And let's just, for 1 second, let's just jump back to that Core Exit 9500 thing. That was used, so I hear, to molecularize the oil as to supposedly disperse it or something. What it seems to me, what it seems like, is that, that's what caused it to be capable of evaporating and becoming the rain that came down in Louisiana, the oil rain. But that's just my 7 cents. So, fuck me. It has come out that one employee used a Federal Emergency Management Agent's FEMA credit card to buy $4,300 in happy birthday gift cards. Two other FEMA officials, they charged the cost of 360 golf umbrellas, $9,000, to the taxpayers. This is a doozy. Researchers at the State University of New York at Buffalo received $389,000 from the U.S. government to pay 100 residents of Buffalo $45 each to record how much malt liquor they drink and how much pot they smoke each day. Okay. Now, aside from the fact that that's completely ludicrous, you need to take into account that that's only $4,500. I mean, I'm not a math whiz. In the least. But let's say, that took 4,500, okay? Let's say they pay each scientist 1,000. No, you know what? Let's say they way overpay him. Let's say they pay him about $5,000 a month for 2 months each. And let's say there's 3 of them. So that's $30,000. That's grossly overpaying. We can all agree that, right? That is grossly, obscenely overpaying somebody. But that's how they do it up there. So that's $30,000. So now we're at a total of $34,500. That's how much. Let's even add I don't know, something ridiculous like $10,000 to the price for paper and pencils. Okay? So now it's $44,500. Where the fuck is that other close to $300,000? What the hell happened to that? They do a research project on how much malt liquor and how much dope homeboys smoke each day in Buffalo? You kidding me? Do you know? And they got that much money. Do you know what I get if I'm lucky enough to have a horse shit job? I get $7.25 a damn hour. Okay. Do you know what I get for unemployment if I don't have a job? A bag of shit. Literally a bag of politician manure, a burlap sack filled with shit from congressmen. And you know what? The guy that delivers it, he slaps me in the face. It's fucking ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. The average duration of unemployment in the United States has risen to an all-time high. This I've encountered before on one of their lists where they made fun of everything. The bottom 40% of all income earners in the U.S. now collectively own less than 1% of the nation's wealth. In the U.S., the average federal worker now earns about twice as much as the average worker in the private sector. So, average Joe Blow, we can agree now, is, $24,000 a year, maybe. So, average asshole in a suit, carrying around a federal anything, is pulling down twice that. Back in 1950, each retiree's Social Security benefit was paid for by 16 workers. Today, each retiree's Social Security benefit is paid for by 3.3 workers. By 2025, it's projected that there will be approximately 2 workers for each retiree. Wow. Now, I'll only be like 42 in 2025. What happens 20 years later if and when I can retire? I'm going to be paying my own shit. I'm going to have a job. According to a U.S. Treasury Department report to Congress, the U.S. national debt will top $13.6 trillion this year and climb to an estimated $19.6 trillion by 2015. So every 5 years, we're adding on $2 trillion. Think about that. That's what would it take before we get to a zillion? We're going to have to make a trillion used to be a bullshit number. You'd be like, oh, I have $1 billion. And someone would say, $1 billion? I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't even know how much it is. Today, a trillion? A trillion is, U.S. debt. 19.6 trillion to be exact. People were unaware of billions a couple hundred years ago. Trillion, did that number exist before somebody owed it to somebody else? The federal government actually has the gall to ask for online donations supposedly going towards paying off the national debt. The Cactus Bug Project at the University of Florida has allocated $325,394 in economic stimulus funds to study the mating decisions of cactus bugs. That one, it really hurts my left temple. It honestly does. It kind of hurts. A dinner cruise company in Chicago got nearly $1 million in economic stimulus funds to combat terrorism. A dinner cruise company. It's being reported that a 6-year-old girl from Ohio is on the no-fly list maintained by U.S. Homeland Security. During the first quarter of 2010, the total number of loans that are at least 3 months past due in the United States increased for the 16th year in a row. Americans spend twice as much as residents of other developed countries on health care, but get lower quality and less efficiency. Some experts are warning that the cost of bailing out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac could reach as high as $1 trillion itself. The FDA has announced that the offspring of cloned animals could be in our food supply right now, and there's nothing they can do about it. In May, sales of new homes in the United States dropped to the lowest level ever recorded. Now that makes sense to me. Because I'd rather rent anyways. Because you don't really own anything. There's no way you can actually own it. They can still come in on your property and do whatever the fuck. You can't be like, no, look, I own this house. I just paid it off. What's up? They're still like, okay. You give it back. They'll buy you out or something, or they'll force you out, or you don't own anything. You can't keep people off. You're in what? Is it Texas? You're allowed to shoot a motherfucker after you warn him once. That should be worldwide. Then I'll own property. Oh, yeah, right. And they've also got to give me a shitload of money. Yeah, then I'll own property too.